Hi, my name is Ron and I'm with ClassicBugParts.com. We make custom upgrades for 58 to 1979, and we've already done a video on the standard clutch shaft upgrade, and we're going to do a short video on the installation of the big boy extended shaft. And you'll notice over here, I've got two demos over here, and you'll notice that this would be the standard upgrade, and then this one here is the extended shaft version, where we've moved the pedal out about 3/4 of an inch to give you more room for your left foot. Now I'm going to show you what you have in your car as a refresher. You started out with this configuration, which we call a hook and ladder design, and when you move the clutch back and forth, you'll notice what is happening. It's causing the hook to wear out and possibly the cable too at the same time, and eventually what is going to happen is that one or the other is going to go ahead and deteriorate and break off, and then now you're going to be stuck somewhere, stranded somewhere. We came out with a new design where now we've centerless ground the shaft, so it's back to factory specs, and we use a chrome moly pin, and we put the cable on. Instead of on the very top, we're putting the cable sideways, and we've held it in place with a flat washer and a nylon lock. And we'll go into that just a little bit more as we get into the process here. Now what you want to do is go ahead and take it off. You want to, first of all, now there's two different clusters we're dealing with, and I have one set over here and I have one over here. This is a cluster off of the 58 to 66, and this one's going to be 67 to 79. So we'll go into a little bit more of that when we go through this process. What you want to do is you want to go ahead, first of all, is to disengage the accelerator pedal, and they're using what we call a Z-bar linkage over here, where your roller ball is right here, and there's a bar that looks like a Z. You want to disengage that first of all, and kind of get that out of the way. You want to go ahead and then take the hydraulic master cylinder control rod out. It's held in place by a pin and also a loop over the top. On this model over here, it's held in place by the brake spring. So you'll use the same thing. Control rod, brake spring will go around the little loops that's held in place. But you want to take the rod out first so you don't damage the master cylinder when you take the pedal assembly out. You want to go to the back of the engine and you want to dislodge the accelerator cable. You'll loosen up the barrel nut in the back, and then it allows the cable to come out, and you'll let it set to the side. It'll just kind of hang there. And then while you're there, you want to jack the back of the car up, and you want to take the nut off the back of the transmission lever, and then that is loose. And now we're ready to go ahead and pull the cluster out. And what you're going to do is you're going to come in here with a ratchet of some sort or a spanner wrench, and you're going to go ahead and take the cluster out, and you're going to take it over to the bench, possibly maybe have a friend put it into a vise. And what you're going to do is you're going to pop the pin out of the clutch pedal itself and the arm, and then once that is out, and that looks like this, you'll be pushing that out of the way. Then you want to reposition the cluster, so now you can take your hammer and your punch, and then punch the shaft out. It will take a little bit of pressure to do that. It's been in there for a long time, and it's going to be a little more difficult, but you'll get it out. Clean the cluster up as much as you can, and now what you want to do is come back and push the new provided shaft into place. And now you want to position your hand or put this onto a vise, and then you want to go ahead and tap the pedal back into position until the holes line up. Take your hammer with your pin, and you want to pound it back in until it's flush. Now you have your pedal cluster assembled, and it's all set to go. You want to come back to the car, and while you have your cluster setting down inside the floor pan itself, you want to pull the clutch cable out of the tunnel, and now you want to install it onto the arm itself with the flat washer and a nylon lock using an 11mm wrench. And once it's tightened down, now you can start to proceed to put it back into the mounting position. Now do remember, you do have a brake spring on here, so you want to make sure you position the brake spring as you're setting the cluster back into position. You want to mount the two mounting bolts and tighten those down. It's a good time now to go ahead and reinstall the master cylinder control arm on here, as we talked about, as a pin with a loop. And on the 67 to 79, you're going to be using the brake spring itself to go ahead and hold it into position. Once you have that done, then you want to come over here and reinstall the Z-bar linkage that you have on here for the roller ball, or if you have the roller ball that's already there, then there's not a problem. You can just hook up the cable. Now once you have this hooked into position, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and go back to the engine, and you want to go ahead and put this into the pedal and then pull this through the barrel nut and tighten it down. Now you've got the accelerator pedal all hooked up and you're good to go. Get underneath the car again, and now since this has been locked into position, all you have to do now is put the nut on and then go ahead and set your 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch clearance for your clutch arm. Okay, now you're good to go. Now if you're doing the big boy, we come over here. If you're doing the big boy, the difference between the two is that before you put the clutch arm into position over here, as we talked about, pounding it back in to line the holes up, you're going to go ahead and put a barrel spacer on, which sets right here. We extended the shaft out. You're still going to do the same thing. You're going to take the pin and you're going to knock the pin back into position, and then pound it back in so it's flush, and then you're set to go. Before you mount your pedal assembly into the car, you have this, which is what they call a clutch and brake stop bracket. It's mounted to the very back. It's held in place by a 13mm bolt. And what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and replace that with a new stop bracket that we make, and it's already been set up to fit right inside the groove that's already in place where this bracket would fit. So what you're going to do is you're now going to go ahead and put that bracket in, as you'll see back here in the very back. It has been oscillated so that once you get it in there and the bolt is in there and the pedals are all set to go, you can line them up, bring it forward or back, so that way you've got the distance, and these will be perfectly lined up for each other. Okay. You'll also notice once you have the pedal assembly back in and it's mounted in, we've already showed you how to do that, you're going to have a brake line that's going to be right here, and you'll notice this little black line right here, and that's pretty much where the brake line is that goes to the rear wheels. What you want to do is you want to grab your hands and just pull the brake line out. It's a soft steel material. Just pull it out so that you have a 1/4 inch distance between the clutch arm itself and the brake, the steel line that you have setting right there, and then you'll be in good position or good to go. Okay. Now that you've got that all installed back, just as we talked about with a standard unit, now you're ready to go ahead and test drive your car and get a chance to feel the improvement to the car. You'll notice the distance between the brake pedals on that. You'll notice the friction-free movement of your clutch pedal, and you'll get a chance. It's more like a modern feel that we have today. What you want to do is you want to go ahead and go to your Bentley book, and on brakes and wheels, it goes into more detail on how to go ahead and take out the clutch pedal itself, the cluster, and replace the shaft and put it back in. This video will give you a chance to see repetition for emphasis, gives you more of a visual on how to go ahead and do that. We want to thank you so very much for watching the video. We ask you to bookmark our page, maybe possibly this, and get a chance to look at it too at a later date as a refresher. Thank you again. Have a great day. Bye.